Hey everybody, it's Hylian Alchemist, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda. In the last episode, we have cleared out the snake, and in this episode, we are going to be doing one last collectathon in the overworld before heading over to the next dungeon. Which, of course, yes, it does explain the reason why this... this is a pretty long video there, like, approximately 24 minutes long, of just having to do the Overworld collectathon and then the dungeon. I wouldn't say there would be too many of the collectibles that we're going to be getting, because I'm pretty sure that we've gotten every single every one of the secret rupee locations from those moblins. If I'm right about it, I think we got them all. So yeah, there's just not very many, but it's going to be a long journey to get through these collectibles. Not to mention, though, we are also going to be getting our final sword upgrade, and I would say that it is, without a doubt, the strongest sword in this game. Like, I guess you could say it would be the Master Sword for this game. Well, even though it's not really called a Master Sword, but it's kind of like it. Of course, we all know Master Sword never really appeared until Link to the Past, and has been one of those prominent weapons in the Zelda series. It didn't appear in every Zelda games, particularly the well, actually the handheld Zelda games, in in which the Master Sword didn't appear, except for A Link Between Worlds. I think that is the only handheld Zelda game in which the Master Sword actually did appear. Then again, though, it is a lot like Link to the Past, so that could be one thing. Anyway, so you remember the heart container we couldn't get in the last episode? It was just standing there laughing at us because we could not reach it. Well, we have that raft from the last episode. Well, actually, that ladder. I think it's kind of like a ladder. I don't know. That we can use to get across the, here. And with that, this heart container is now in our possession. Oh, now you know how it feels to be trapped with me. I laugh at your misfortune. Sorry about that. That was cringeworthy. So, anyhow, see, as we go along collecting some things, what is there to talk about? I mean, I could talk about some things regarding Breath of the Wild, but I think I pretty much got everything. I think. Let's see here. What is there to talk about? Well, I mean, once we get to the other items, or that sword upgrade, then I could talk about those, but I mean, I had Breath of the Wild in mind. I mean, I thought I was gonna further talk details into the game, but well, I think what I could talk about is that like, I know that it's gonna be released for both the Wii U and the NX. That's gonna be coming up, I believe, in well, I did hear it's gonna come out in 2017, but I am gonna be getting the Wii U version. Because, well, for one thing, it's a system that the game was originally going to be in before they tell us that it's also going to be for the NX. I mean, it is the same thing with Twilight Princess, with like the game being initially for the Nintendo GameCube, but then it was also going to be for the Wii because of because the Wii was getting ready for release. I guess you could also say that, like, I'm getting the feeling that that Breath of the Wild will also be a launch title for the NX, just like Twilight Princess did for the Wii. But I'm still gonna get the Wii U version anyway, because, well, you know, it was originally gonna be for the Wii U before change of plans were made. And of course, it got delayed once again. So yeah, I had to buy myself another red potion because you know, later dungeons do get a little tougher. So, I know, I shouldn't be wasting most of my rupees, but we are actually going to be using our rupees for something else that's going to come up for in the next dungeon. And it actually is some sort of upgrade that we're going to be getting. Which, of course, we actually do need, we do need rupees for. I forgot the amount of rupees that we do need. But I'm actually hoping that I would still have enough for that particular item for a certain dungeon. Which, if memory serves me correctly, would be the next dungeon after the one we're going to. If I'm right, though. I might be wrong, but that's just my kind of theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Okay, no, just kidding. But yeah, I'm hoping that I would still have enough rupees for that one item. And that was a pretty good performance I just did there. Just killing all these levers that popped out of the ground. And this is a part right here where it kind of gets ridiculous. Because there are going to be a lot of P-hats everywhere. Yeah, the P-hats in this game are just as annoying. Because, you know, you just have to wait until they land so that way you can hit them. Because you will not be able to attack them while they're flying in midair. I mean, even though it may not seem like much, because, you know, like, it does look like you can clearly hit them while they're flying because of the, NES's limited capabilities. But they are actually floating, or flying in midair. So that's actually one of those things. It does make sense. It just doesn't look like it because of, because, you know, the NES's limited hardware. Let's see. It's kind of weird, though, like, well... Like, in games like Ocarina of Time, you can still hit the P-hats, because you see their weak points while they're flying. So there's that, but, you know... Okay, I know, I've really run out of things to say at this point. I really have, I mean, you know... It is a pretty big, flip phone we have to do, but... Oh, here's something right here. Yes, I'm actually speeding this, this part up because... I thought that there was supposed to be a secret passage, or a secret room right under one of these, Arma statues. It turns out there wasn't, and so I was actually wasting my time just killing all those P-hats just to get them out of the way. And then I just realized that there wasn't some sort of a secret under one of those Arma statues. Actually, did I say passage? No, an item. Ugh. Well, I must be getting, yeah, I'm getting particularly dumb in this one. But, so yeah, I kinda did waste some, time just killing those P-hats. I'm sorry for that, but I did speed it up at least so that way, it just won't drag on with me killing the P-hats, so... what I just picked up there was a power bracelet, and it allows us to push certain boulders that we couldn't push before, so it actually makes us a little more powerful. And, these line elves here, I do believe that we encountered only their blue variants. I think this is the first time that we met their red variants. Because I know that the blue ones are usually the stronger versions, unlike the red ones, but they're still pretty annoying. I really don't like those line elves. Right there is a Guinea, and, they don't do much, like, you know, they just float around just waiting for you to kill them. They do take a lot of hits. Something about them, though, is that these graves here, if you actually try to touch them, then they'll come out. They'll just come out from the graves, and, you know, I guess that's their only kind of, surprise attack as punishment for being a grave robber. Well, except for this one, because, well, we, have this passage here, but I wouldn't say they're much of a threat in this game. Anyways, so now we have the magical sword, and that is the strongest sword in the game. It is very powerful, like 2 times as powerful as the white sword, which means it would be 4 times as powerful as a wooden sword. So it's a great sword. So it'll It'll make ourselves a little bit easier. It'll make this quest a bit easier. Well, if not too, well, if not too tedious. But, you know, I'm actually happy about that, because, you know, more attack power, and I'm the kind of guy that is all for, having more attack power in these games, like, you know, and, in those RPG games, like, I always, go for the ones that are, that have more attack power. So this right here, it's kind of similar to the, Warp Zone in Super Mario Bros. 1, where you can just, take one of these stairs and you get, and then you get to another location. And that takes us... Wait, ugh. Right, well, okay, I'm starting to sound like Elmer Fudd here, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I can't speak today again. But, anyway, so that takes us a little closer to the next dungeon that we're going to be going to. And this part kind of seems like the Lost Woods, but not quite, though. At least I don't think so. Because all you have to do is you just have to keep going up the stairs, just keep on going north, and then... And there you are. There's a dungeon. So without further ado, let us go inside, and this is the, this is the lizard. And, I know I would kind of be saying this a little ahead of time here, but the boss of this dungeon here is very laughably, pathetically easy. It's not even funny. And I'll show you what I mean once we get to the actual boss, but for now, let's go over these new enemies here that we have just now encountered. Those are called the Pole's Voice. Not necessarily rabbit heads, they're Pole's Voice. Basically, they are immune to pretty much all of your weapons except for your sword and arrows. You can use your arrows to instantly kill them, unless you're the kind of guy that would not want to waste his rupees. So instead, I would just use a sword. Actually, before I go on about the Pole's Voice, more new enemies to go over. These are called Gibdos. I think, they kind of follow you around, like, well, once you get right across from them, then they'll start coming towards you, but they're not that hard, and they'll also be holding some certain items, like the keys that we, like the one that we just killed and we got the key for. So yeah, there are these, the Gibdos will be doing that. And we got more Dodongos to kill, or more Dodongos to bomb. Yeah, go ahead and insert the very cringeworthy line of those godforsaken CDI games. Ugh. So, anyway, back to what I was saying about the Pole's Voice. A little trivia about them. In the Famicom version of this game, it has a built-in, well, I think for the second player, there is a microphone for that, and you can use that. Like, if you like speak very loudly into the microphone, then that will actually kill all the Pole's Voice. Unfortunately, though, since this game, well, since the NES does not have a feature like that, then instead you can kill them with either the arrows or the sword. I do know that in the Virtual Console release for the Japanese 3DSs, you can actually use the microphone to kill the Pole's Voice as well, but not in the American version. I really don't know why, even though the 3DS actually does have a built-in microphone for you to use, and it actually does work, so I don't know why it doesn't work for the Virtual Console release for Zelda 1, the international release. And I see, well, okay, I thought that Gibdo was holding another item that we haven't gotten yet, but, you know, it's just a bomb. As a matter of fact, excuse me, we already got all the boomerangs, like, you know, the boomerang upgrade, so I really don't know what I'm talking about here. Let's see, what else was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, the Pole's Voice also did not appear very much in other Zelda games. I know they appeared in Link's Awakening and Phantom Hourglass. Since, well, I wouldn't say that Phantom Hourglass is very, it doesn't necessarily emphasize on, using the microphone. Not as much as Spirit Tracks, but, I do believe, didn't the microphone work for the, Bull's voice in Phantom Hourglass? I don't know, I rarely touched Phantom Hourglass in a long time. Because, well, I'm gonna be honest here, Phantom Hourglass is, in my opinion, well, it is my least favorite Zelda game. And same thing goes for Spirit Tracks. Phantom Hourglass because it is very repetitive for that one particular dungeon, and pretty annoying. It does have a lot of padding, I should say, for that one dungeon, and it gets very annoying. So, Spirit Tracks isn't that much better either. That game nearly fucking killed me. Trust me. Like, you know, the Spirit Flute, basically. Like, what you have to do with the Spirit Flute, you constantly have to blow into the microphone to make it work, and it could really just... you could pass out from that. I almost did. I almost passed out from exhaustion. For lack of a better pronunciation of having to blow into the microphone a lot. Yeah, trust me, it nearly killed me on that end. So, ever since then, I haven't really touched it. Not to mention, I know I'm going to sound very biased at this point, but I think the stylus controls are kind of the worst idea for controls. But that's just me. That's how I think of it. It just kind of makes it seem awkward. So I prefer the other Zelda games with simple controls, like, you know, using the control stick or the control pad. But what are you gonna do about that? Anyways, so this item right here, this item is called the flute. Well, I think it's just a flute. Well, I thought it was gonna be called something else, but I think that's what it's just called, the flute. What that does is that if you guys thought that it was also gonna be used for killing the Pole's voice, well, it's not gonna work like that. It still doesn't work, so I really don't know why. It could have worked for the Pole's voice, but it actually still doesn't. It is actually used for the boss that we're gonna be getting to, and that's one of the reasons why it's so laughably easy. But again, we'll get to it. Well, oh yeah, and I really need to explain this here. Yes, that was that one idiotic, very stupid mistake that I did. I thought that I had the bombs equipped, just so that way I can bomb that wall. And guess what? I actually wasted that, the rest of that potion. I wasted that blue potion, and, like, right when I didn't really need to. So now the potion's gone. Well, then again, I was gonna buy another one in the next episode anyway, but yeah, that was really stupid that I did. It was really idiotic on my part, so I apologize for that. But you know, I could have sworn I thought, well, I guess it's kind of my fault for not really checking on the screen here, for checking on these commands here. Because if I did, then I would have just equipped the bombs, but I didn't, so yeah, sorry about that. But I'm still gonna buy that. I was gonna buy that red potion anyway, so so we just got that bomb upgrade from that old man, and that's that's why I need to get to that room right there to bomb that wall, so that way I can get that bomb upgrade from that old man. I think it just goes up to the maximum capacity of 12. I think that's I think that's pretty much it for the bomb upgrades that we would use. But at least it still gives us a lot of bombs to use. So anyways, so yeah, at this point, not really much to talk about now. Yeah, I thought I would just go over to, I thought I would just take that kind of shortcut and just go up there, but it just takes me to the old man who gives us a hint on how to defeat the boss. Which, I would... well, it's still kind of helpful as long as you know what he's talking about. But most of the time, whatever he tells you are just... they're just not very much helpful at all. So, yeah, very helpful there, old man. Actually, there's one thing I did forget to mention about Breath of the Wild. The old man, well, did I talk about it before? I can't remember. Well, if I didn't, then yeah, he does appear in Breath of the Wild if for one of the E3 trailers shown. And he just you know, it's kind of funny though. Like, whenever you meet him, he just talks about how he's just a useless old man. I guess he's just lampshading the fact that that he's well, that he's kind of, well, he is kind of famous for one thing. I mean, you know, he's famous for the "it's dangerous to go alone" lines, but you know, he just goes on to say that he's just a useless old man, and he thought that everybody forgot about him. But no, nobody forgot about him. I mean, we all remember the guy. So, anyways, kind of a long dungeon, if you ask me. Yeah, I guess I'm out of things to say. I'm sorry, like, you know, I guess you could say that I kind of seem to be suffering from what I like to call Let's Player's block. It's kind of similar to an artist block, like, you know, for like Let's Player's block, you like, you know, when you're trying to get through a game and you run out of things to say. That's kind of a problem I've been having. I mean, I want to talk about things. That's what Let's Plays are for, but you know, there's really not much to say now. It's like you basically run out of ideas. Regardless, though, we are getting close to the boss, so that's one thing. And that's where I'll talk about how pathetically easy he is. If I can just go ahead and well, I don't really need to kill these Pols voice per se, but well, it's because I thought that usually whenever you kill enemies in a room, then you get rewarded for something, but this time I don't, so I just kill the Pols voice for no reason. But you know, they're just fun to kill. So anyway, what we need to do for this boss, all you have to do, use a flute, or play the flute, and then just kill him once he gets to this state. Only 2 hits to kill, and he's done. That was it. Very pathetically easy. I'm not kidding. He's like, I would say, the easiest boss ever. And, you know, I just find it so funny, though. Like, in, that one part when I was watching, this playthrough from Brain Scratch Commentaries, I just remember when, Ted died against Dig Dogger, and yeah, that was the name of the boss. I think I forgot to mention. Yeah, I remember when Ted actually died against Dig Dogger. It was actually very funny, to be honest. It really was. I mean, I know he really does hate the game, but good God! I mean, even though you're not that good at the game, I mean, you should still be able to beat this guy. I mean, really. So that I would say that's one of those funniest things about Brain Scratch Commentaries. It was just hilarious, but. Anyhow, so now just 2 more Triforce pieces to go, and then we should be able to face off against Ganon. So, next episode, well, not much to say. It's the same thing. So, until then, see you all later.